We talk a lot about taking a pause in our busy lives, right? But what about the longest, most important pause we take every single day? Yep, I'm talking about sleep. So today, we're going to dive into how sleep isn't just an off switch. It's actually an active healing process that can literally reset your mood overnight. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it. You know the feeling. You have a difficult, upsetting day. That emotional sting is so sharp, it's almost physical. But then you sleep on it, and you wake up, and while the memory is definitely still there, the sharp edges have kind of softened. That intense emotional charge, it's faded. It's not a raw wound anymore. It's become more like a story. And this isn't just you hoping for the best. It's a real, profound biological process at work.
And this idea really just nails it. We're not just shutting down for 8 hours. Our brain is actively at work. It's curating, it's refiling the day's events, it's dialing down the emotional alarms, and then it hands us back a lighter version of our memories to carry forward. It's incredible.
All right, so first up, let's think about sleep as a kind of emotional first aid, a nightly treatment that helps us process everything that happened during the day.
You know, for the longest time, the common wisdom was that sleep is just a passive state, kind of like an inconvenience, the brain just turning off. That's the old view on the left. But the new reality, what we see on the right, is so much more fascinating. Sleep is an active, dynamic process of mental housekeeping, where our brain really gets to work sorting, filing, and healing.
And the place where all this magic really happens, that's REM sleep. During rapid eye movement sleep, your brain goes back and revisits those emotionally charged experiences. And this is the amazing part, it uncouples the raw emotion from the memory itself. So the facts of what happened, they stay. But the sting, that emotional punch in the gut, that starts to fade.
And this whole process, it builds into something even more profound. It's not just an automatic function. It's almost therapeutic. In a way, your brain literally becomes its own nightly therapist.
And hey, this isn't just a cool theory. There's some great research from psychologist Rosalind Cartwright that backs this up. She found that people going through major life stress, think something like a divorce, they actually recovered better when they had active, intense, and emotional dreams. Their minds weren't trying to escape the hard stuff. They were running toward it, but in a safe, simulated space, trying to make sense of it all.
Okay, so how does this actually work? What's happening under the hood? How do our dreams, even the bad ones, manage to reset our mood by morning? Let's take a look at the actual sequence of events.
Let's walk through these 5 key steps. First step, the stress dial turns way down. A key stress chemical in your brain basically takes a nosedive during REM sleep, and that allows us to revisit tough memories without that full fight-or-flight freakout. Second, something called reconsolidation. It's a fancy word for resaving memories, but this time with less emotional baggage attached. Third, we get safe exposure. Believe it or not, even a nightmare is a form of exposure therapy. You're experiencing the fear while your body is totally safe in bed, which helps reduce that fear over time. Fourth is what I like to call story knitting. Your brain takes all these fragments and weaves them into a story, and creating that meaning helps reduce the threat. And finally, number 5, the executive handoff. By morning, your calm, rational prefrontal cortex is back in charge, giving you way better control.
So, the science is amazing, right? But what do you do with it? Look, you can't just slam the brakes on a super intense day and expect to fall into a deep sleep instantly. It just doesn't work that way. The key is to build a landing strip for your mind.
Seriously, I love this metaphor. Because think about it, just like a plane needs a long runway to land safely, your brain needs a transition period to shift from that high alert state of your day into a state of rest. Expecting it to just shut down on a dime is setting yourself up for a rough night. So what does this landing strip actually look like? Well, here are 2 really powerful, actionable things you can do. First up, we've got the brain dump. About an hour before bed, get all those worries, all those to-do lists out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Just get them out. Second, create a sensory buffer. Dim the lights, ditch the screens for maybe a calm podcast or some music, and maybe even take a warm shower. That actually helps your core body temperature drop, which is a huge signal to your body that it's time to sleep. And here's another super simple but crazy effective tip. Your environment matters a lot. Keeping your bedroom cool, right inside this ideal temperature range, is honestly one of the most powerful things you can do to get deeper, more stable sleep. Of course, it's also about what not to do, right? We have to avoid the things that can sabotage our sleep. As you can see, a late-night coffee is a thief of deep sleep. And alcohol? Well, it might make you feel drowsy at first, but it totally messes with that all-important REM sleep we just talked about.
And even intense exercise right before bed can make it harder for your body to wind down properly.
Okay, and for anyone out there who really struggles with recurring bad dreams, there's a specific, evidence-based technique you can use to start taking back control. It's all about actively rewiring those nightmares.
This whole protocol is based on something called imagery rehearsal therapy, and it's surprisingly simple. Let's just break it down. First, you give the nightmare a title. Sounds weird, but it works. Then you literally rewrite a new, safe, maybe even empowering ending to it. During the day, you just briefly visualize only that new ending. At bedtime, you remind yourself of your new script. And in the morning, you anchor what you've learned. It's like you're teaching your brain a brand new path to follow.
So as we start to pull all this together, let's circle back to this one central idea. It is time for all of us to stop thinking of sleep as a weakness or some kind of luxury we can't afford. It is, without a doubt, your most powerful tool for daily restoration and emotional resilience. So here's the bottom line. Every single night, you've got this incredible opportunity. Sleep is an active partner that literally resets your mood, weaves all the random fragments of your day into a meaningful story, and truly gets you ready to face the next day with a fresh, clear perspective.
And that really leaves us with one final question. For you, based on everything we've just talked about, what is one small thing you will do tonight to build your landing strip, to honor your biology, and to help your brain do its absolutely vital healing work? Thanks for joining us.